swag of a prize fighter. The antithesis of a firefighter. Arsonist, I'm a fire rider. Instant flame like a firelighter. So special with shows, I live out my flows. Can't walk in my shoes, can't purchase my clothes. Ice in my veins, but I never froze. Picture perfect, but I never pose. As a juvenile, I knew I bounced back. Got rated, had a plan to get my ounce back. Use cheese as bait, that's a mousetrap. Let me to the right person to pounce at. They selling dreams, I'm pulling receipts. Full force, we can't be beat. Got a dirty mouth, but the flow so neat. Keep your 2 cents, talk is cheap.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Haney exposes pay in boxing. So he was on this podcast and he discussed pay in boxing, and we'll dive into it in greater detail. But let's take a listen to what Devin the Dream Haney had to say, and then we'll discuss his comments.
Crazy, like that bag is so insane.
No, but like the bag is insane, but it's for like it's a very low percentage of boxers that actually get to that bag.
Yeah.
When like say like you're playing basketball or you're football, you could be mediocre in basketball, football, and still get what's like the minimum in the NFL. Like it's like still like a couple $1 million or whatever.
Yeah.
In boxing, bro, if you're mediocre, you're not getting shit. Like what? Not mediocre. Yeah, mediocre. Like you're really not going to make a lot of money.
If you're not,
you got to be that elite.
Yeah.
And once you make it to the elite stage, you're going to get money for a long time, because even after you lose or after you aren't as good, you can still be an opponent for the elite guys. So you just got to crack that what do you say, like
threshold,
like fucking sweet spot.
Where do you think that is?
And then,
that like what makes a fighter? I mean, obviously not losing.
Yeah.
Do you think that's just it? Obviously.
I mean, it's many different things. It could be like, you know, just getting a world title or just having a name or whatever. But
how do you have a name in boxing if you're losing? You have to just not lose. Isn't that kind of what it comes down to?
You can make a name by just giving somebody a good fight. Like, say somebody gives me a good fight, and say I win, they put up a good fight with me. So now the world wants to see him. Once they want to see him against Ryan, or see him against Tank, or see him against somebody else, you know, with a name. You see what I'm saying? To see how they do.
Yeah.
So now they got another payday just off giving me a good fight.
All right, and so that's Bradley Martin's Raw Talk podcast. I don't think he does boxing all the time, but still you can check out his podcast. So that's what Devin Haney had to say about the boxing bag. It's not as crazy as people think, and only the elite boxers really make money. Mediocre boxers don't make money. I'm going to turn it over to you, G. What was your reaction to what he said?
I mean, I thought this was common knowledge. You know, it didn't seem like he exposed anything to me. Like, it's almost like a no-brainer, you know, like you could be like a nobody that's at a gym, and yeah, if you want to go professional, you can go professional. You know, doesn't mean you're gonna make any money just because you're a professional. You know, it's boxing's a little different from like a professional playing like football and basketball. You know, here in the States, it's like you have to get recruited, as opposed to in boxing, it's like, hey, I want to be a professional, and I may not be as good, but I know I could get a fight to beef up somebody else's resume. You know, I could get brought into the ring just to be food. And if I'm just straight up food, they're not going to pay me top dollar just to get beat up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know my position. It's like, my assignment is to show up, get knocked out, and make the other guy look great. And hopefully they give me enough to cover my rent for that month. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I don't view it as he's exposing anything. I kind of feel like this is like a duh, you know, type of situations.
All right, Dollar Bill.
Yeah, I'm with you, G. I was actually just having a conversation with somebody the other day when I was talking about the sport of boxing and having to save your bread, and everybody is not getting this Canelo dollars. You know, I was talking about how they thinking that boxers get all these stuff. I'm like, no. And then some of them only have this as their job or their means of income. So they got to try to have this over a certain amount of time, and then there's no health insurance, and no 501. I mean, no 501 401ks, and there's no there's nothing there, So like these fighters, man, it's bad. It's bad. We was talking about the sport being lonely, But yeah, man, this is. Yeah. I'm with you, G. I don't think Devin is exposed to anything. This is stuff that we always knew, and it's true. Like the money ain't there like that for everybody, So that's why you see some of these guys the way how they take losses, or when they feel like they've been cheated or something. You can see the emotion and everything on these guys' faces, because some of these guys, they be like, they might not be able to be seen again, or they might not get another chance again, and you don't know what it took for these guys to get there, So yeah, that's really, it's a lot goes in it.
All right.
Yo, and also, can I add too? Boxing is one of the very few sports where you can actually see a Uber driver fight a guy who is a full-time fighter. You know what I'm saying? That's outrageous, bro. Like you don't see like NBA players, like dudes, just random kids from like, let's say, I don't know, like after school playing ball, getting to go to the NBA to go up against elite basketball players or football players and things of that nature. That doesn't happen. But in boxing, you'll see some guys that don't belong in that ring with monsters. And it's just, it is what it is.
All right, TBE. That's a good point, G. TBE.
Yeah, that's a good point, G. But you do see, like, not at the professional level, but you do see, like, what was it? A couple years ago, there was some high school kid that he got blown up for ducking on LeBron. He made it to the league. He wasn't anything, but he had that moment. And you have players that I remember.
You're talking about Jamal Crawford's brother.
Yeah. You have sometimes.
Jordan Crawford, I think.
There was like the story, like 5 years ago, the New York Jets signed some punter. He was just a bartender. He wasn't even in the draft or anything. They signed some punter from a local bar, and he was on the team for a couple of weeks. You have those moments where a regular guy off the street can walk into the league. But then you also have in boxing, it's like if you have the talent, if you have an iron jaw, some people got an iron jaw. They could get hit for days and they could throw haymakers. But boxing is elevated from the times where times of the old. Where you used to listen on the radio, envision the punches, things like that. And it'd be your neighbor. Joe Smo got a fight and he knocked out. He's not a champion of the world. It's those miracle moments. And that's what boxing is. Boxing has those moments where you can have somebody come out of nowhere and be a miracle. Andy Ruiz, Cambosis, things of that nature. But I'm not mad. Like it is what it is. If you put butts in the seat, you can't be mad because you're fighting somebody who put butts in the seat. If you beat them, you take that. That's you. You're now the headlines. You got boxing. I don't want to say it's a dying sport. It's not a dying sport. It's just a sport it needs more. I feel like this is another discussion for another day. The fighters fight each other. You're gonna get the pay you want. But when you say you want this, you want that, and you don't do it, then it causes an issue when the audience is not drawing attention to the audience. But when you have the big names coming up, it puts money in the seats. And if you have an opportunity to fight a card for $10,000, and you're under Fury, you're under Usyk, you're under Canelo, you're under Wilder, you're under AJ, you're under Mayweather, whatever you're fighting on it, you're getting exposure. It's all about the exposure. You're getting more competition. Like, one more thing, Tyson fought when he started in boxing, he fought like 10 to 15 fights his first year in the sport. Like, you look at his resume, it's like all like it goes back to back. He was fighting like 2 fights a month. Now you're getting fighters fight once or twice a year, and it's like you're not giving people the excitement you want to see. You want the exposure. So yeah, go ahead, G.
Yeah, but that's everyone's career essentially in boxing.
But I'm saying.
But like they all start off like these guys. Everyone's doing like, and when they first start, like 8 fights a year, and it goes from 8 to 2. You know what I mean? Like, It happens, bro.
It happens. But some of these guys, they're still young. I'm like, yo, you got. If you really want like to make your name, if you really want that payday, you gotta let people know you that guy, you that bad man. And a lot of them not letting them know letting the world know they're that bad man in the sport. So you fight in January. Next time we see you, October, November. That's too long of a wait. People want blood. It's a blood sport. People want this. It's that what gets them to turn to the TV like, oh, he's gonna knock his head off. Like my students after the Tank Ryan fight, so everybody like, oh yeah, Tank done fought, but when Tank and Ryan fight, oh yeah, I want to be like Tank. I want to be like Tank. Like, yo, I known you for 2 years now. None of y'all ever spoke about these fighters and anything, but now y'all are fans. So you want to see if they're fans, you want to see you want to see your fighter more. And I honestly, I'm tired of waiting around for my fighters to fight. My favorite fighters to fight 2 times out the year. I need at least 3 or 4. I'm gonna be honest. And that's why I give props to Canelo. Canelo does it more than any fighter in this sport. He fights a lot, and even though he lost to Bivol and everybody's knocking him now, he fights a lot, and he gives the crowd what they want. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, what's up, G?
Well, perfect thing that you brought up Canelo. We just paid like $55 to watch Canelo, right? But that undercard was straight trash.
That's not Canelo's fault.
Yeah, it is. Technically, it is. You know why? Because it's probably like their justification is Canelo's so expensive. We have to pay Canelo X amount of dollars every time he gets in the ring. So what do? They go, we can't afford to put nobody else on the card, so we'll just stack the card with a bunch of no names. You get what I'm saying? Like, so that's why what Haney was saying wasn't like anything new. It's like we already know this, like this is the way the game is structured.
But when you get yes, those were the Uber drivers you see you fight.
Ned, think about this. What they're doing in Saudi Arabia is like unprecedented, right? It's like, whoa, you're gonna have Fury and Usyk fight on the same card as AJ and Wilder.
Hold on, give me that credit.
You get what I'm saying?
Give me that credit. Give me that credit. I called that first. Give me my credit. You see, you don't want to. Nobody want to give me credit for Boxmania.
Congratulations.
They give my credit for Boxmania. That's all I want to say.
Okay, salute to you. So then now, but think about that. That doesn't happen in boxing.
I know.
It's too expensive. You get what I'm saying?
But it's the funders. But like a regular fight, like honestly, Canelo John Ryder shouldn't have been on pay-per-view. It should have been a on television fight. I'm not gonna lie, but it's Canelo.
You know why it had to be on pay-per-view?
Because of Canelo.
They have to pay Canelo X amount of millions of dollars every time he fights. That's the problem with like a Wilder also. PBC has to pay Wilder X amount of millions every fight. So you'll never see these type of guys anymore just doing regular fights like that because there's no budget for it. So they have to pay-per-views. I
agree. But what I'm saying is the fighters on the undercard, it's not the fighter who's the main card's fault that these fighters are trash. It's like, yo, this is your stage to showcase your skills. That's all I'm saying. This is your stage to showcase your skills. And if they give you a terrible fight where people are like, this is not entertaining, people are going to go get popcorn while we're in the 7th round while it's about to get crazy. That's not on the promotional company. That's on the fighters, and that's where their pockets get exposed. It's like you're not that big of a draw to keep people entertained for so long. You're a boring fighter. Your styles are boring, things like that. Yeah, we like you, but you can't keep butts in the seat. And when you put butts in the seat, you get paid. That's all it's about right now. But until you elite, like you said, unless you make it to the elite spot or things you like, you're a name. Nobody wants to see you. You got to make that name for yourself, and that's what it is. It's your moment of opportunity, and that's what boxing ever been. It's like you get somebody, a mechanic. Oh, he can fight. Put him in the ring. He knocks a couple guys out. Let's see if he go up against the champ, and that's all it's been about. That's all boxing's ever been about. It's like the guy who wants to get in there and test his jaw. That's it. The regular Joe Smo, whatever, who comes out of nowhere and surprises everybody.
Yeah, to me, Devin Haney confirmed what we already knew, but to hear him say it kind of confirms it, because there are people out there who think that because you see a fighter on television, you think they're rich. Like you were saying, Trill, like, people get the misconception that, oh, this person's a boxer, so they must make a lot of money. And what Devin Haney is saying is those mediocre fighters, those middle of the pack fighters, they're not making that much money. And when you break it down, I learned this young because I grew up in the boxing gyms, and I would see certain things because I thought like these fighters must be making millions. But then I found out like, nah, he didn't name any names, of course, but when you talk about the middle of the pack fighters, I would have loved for him to get into naming some names. But if you think about it, you can kind of envision the people he's speaking about. Let's just keep it real, right? Let's say, what you said,
like, you know what? I remember me and you, we had this is a long time ago. It was a long couple years ago. It was just the time where the guy, the boogeyman Triple G was first coming on the scene, and they was talking about how he wasn't getting no bread, and we was like, damn, at this time, and he was getting all these knockouts. He had this knockout run, and he wasn't making no money. He wasn't making no money. He was trying to wait until he can get the big fights, and the most he was getting was like he got at that time, and we was like, damn, what is Abel Sanchez doing? He was like, no, they just using this as building fights. So he got like 100 or something thousand, and it was like he got to split that between all his people. So yeah, when you said that, it just put that memory back in my mind. And
yeah, I do. Yeah, no, I remember us talking about that, and that's something that I said that we already knew, but the confirmation for the people who don't know, who think that certain fighters make so much money because they automatically think like, oh, well, this person's rich and this person's that. So I'll give you an example. How many fighters make $1 million a fight? Not many. If you make $1 million of a fight, you're over mediocre. But let's take $1 million a fight. You make $1 million, 40% to taxes. 40% to taxes all ripped, so that leaves you with $600,000. 20% to your manager.
I know champions not getting an M.
5% to the belts.
I know
5% to the sanction body. Now you got to pay your trainer. Now you got to pay your gym dues. On top of that, you got to use that money. Yeah, you got to use that money to pay all your. You got camp fees. Or you got to use that money to pay all types of stuff.
Then if you got a lady, you got your lady fees.
Lady fees.
The views and opinions of Trill do not reflect the Boxing Bros as a whole and all the other faces you see on the screen. I knew Trill couldn't resist getting a warning when he came back, getting a disclaimer when he came back. No, but Trill, in all seriousness, right? The reality is when you look at how much these guys pocket from 1 million, if you just made 1 million, right? Is it like I just like it? Like we just point out all these fees. You'd be lucky to pocket like 300,000, and you can say like, oh, 300,000, but that's 300,000, and then you got to pay all your bills for the whole year. You got to eat for the whole year. You got to clothe your family for the whole year. You got to do whatever. Oh, you know, and this is where some people get caught up because. You know, and this is where I guess the way I was doing it, where it was being explained is he puts like fighters on like an allowance where it's like he pays them as if they were employees almost. So it's like you get your money throughout the year, but some people want one lump sum. You know, if you don't know how to handle one lump sum, it can be very, very dangerous for you.
That's a fact.
It can be very, very dangerous for you to just get all your money up front. And if you make a mistake with it, you can't pay your mortgage for the rest of the year. You can't pay your bills for the rest of the year. You can't do. So, anyways, the point is, even when you hear a fighter make $1 million, when you hear some of these numbers in your mind, like the guy was saying, because that guy was one of those people, he was like, oh, the boxing bag is just so crazy. And then Devin just got to bring him back to earth. Like, it's not really that crazy when you break down everything. So that's just something to keep in mind when, like, you know, you're dealing and you understand like the sport of boxing. Like some of these fighters, like they're pointing out when they say like they want their money or they're not getting the bag. you never really know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now everything you're saying, bro, is real talk. Even when you just said the $1 million flat free, it just made me think of Regis, and it was like he just got his biggest payday from the last fight when he fought Zepeda was $1,080,000. You know what I'm saying? And he just received that. And I'm talking about he already had fights with Josh Taylor and everybody else, and this is his highest paid, and it's only an M at 80,000.
Yeah, and then again, you got to go through
two-time world champion.
You got to go through all that, and we started at $1 million. Imagine if we started at 500,000, which would have sounds good, but then you got to go 40% to taxes, 20% to your manager, 5% to sanction fees, blah blah blah. How much do you think that person takes in? That's what I'm saying. Boxing is a crazy game, and that's something when I was in the gyms and I learned that I was like, man, I might as well just get an education then. Like, so anyways, Heaven, to me, what he did confirm, Devin Haney, was that the boxing pay isn't as crazy as it sounds when you go over these numbers. So you gotta be careful. And unless you're at the elite level, you're not making the crazy kind of money that people think.
So don't let the jewelry fool you. You know what I mean? They on tight budget.
The glass diamonds fool you.
Yeah,
Y'all doing people wrong down there.
Don't let the crystals fool you. Go ahead,
let's pray for like the likes of Bermain Severn, who's still under the hands of. Damn. Why am I forgetting his name? Don King. Yes. Let's pray for the guys. Let's pray. It just blew my mind. I was thinking like, they got the like Al Sharpton got like I was thinking like
Al still fights?
Huh?
I haven't seen Bermain Severn.
Yeah, I haven't seen him. He's still active though. He's still active. So pray for those who are still forced to fight because they're on the.
If they can find some money for him, Donify it. Donify the money.
Throw him in there.
If there's some money for Severn, Donify it. Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like to subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros. Money, 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 money. Money.